This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by
nhliberty.org. nhliberty.org.
I want to talk a little bit about preventing vindictive activism in New Hampshire. As some of you may have noticed, the liberty activists in Keene, New Hampshire are getting quite a bit of traction from using what I call courteous disobedience and reaching out to the people that hurt them. This approach has led to positive public reaction in a city that does not have a very pro-liberty population. The most recent Keene Sentinel article had triggered about 770 comments by May 18th. 44 of those were favorable, only 13 were unfavorable. But here and there, people pop up into the scene who think the way to move forward is a lot less conciliatory. They think we can get ahead by hurting the people who hurt us. These vindictives have a frustration I can understand. I don't want to judge them too quickly, but I think it may be appropriate to take measures that would discourage that sort of thing, or at least discourage those people from associating with us. Here are a couple of ideas I had. The first one is very simple and concrete. If you run a forum or a blog for New Hampshire liberty activists, you may want to try what they're doing over at forum.freekeene.com. Most web forums have a button that says ignore. If you see somebody posting messages you think are violent or something like that, you can just click the ignore button and it shows people that a lot of people are just not paying attention to them. I think it would be more powerful if the ignore button became an ostracize button. It doesn't say that much to ignore a violent person. It doesn't send a particularly constructive message. But an ostracism, that sends a different and more powerful message. What I will generally do on my YouTube channel is I will delete at least some posts that seem to advocate violence against our enemies. I'm reluctant to delete anything, but that's just about the only kind of post I will delete. But I do think it's appropriate to send a message that this isn't the place for that. New Hampshire isn't the place. The Ridley Report isn't the place. The Free Staters web forums are not the place. You know, if you want to TP judges' houses or advocate some kind of guerrilla war, well, I understand your frustration. If you're going to do that, New Hampshire is just not the best place. Again, I don't want to judge people like you, and I do continue to oppose government attacks on people like you. But the more vindictive you are, the less support you're going to get from the liberty community. You're not entirely welcome here within the movement. The folks who have taken the vindictive approach have not achieved as much. Not many have moved to New Hampshire, and I think it would be appropriate for us to just discourage people like that from doing so. When you move to New Hampshire, become a liberty activist, you become a little bit dependent on the liberty community. If that community, or even a portion of it, withdraws its support from you, well, you are in a position of being nasty to the government, you will fare badly. So I think it's just a matter of the liberty community being ready to do nothing or do very little to help the vindictives. And to make that plain to the vindictives before they move here, so they don't go out on a limb and get themselves hurt. Those are just my thoughts, but I can say from what I've seen, the vindictive approach has not worked out well for the people, the few who've moved here and tried it, or those who already lived here and tried it. Some have turned around and left the state, others are in jail. And unlike peaceful civil disobedience activists, their sacrifices do not generate a great deal of sympathy or support. If vindictiveness is the thing for you, New Hampshire's not the place to do.
This edition of the Ridley Report was brought to you by the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance at nhliberty.org. If you were to go to the State House and do this, then you would step on the toes of a Liberty Alliance member, because they're all over the place at the State House. They are there fighting for your freedom, and they need your help. Visit the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance at nhliberty.org and join them. Or maybe I should say, join us, because I am a member. nhliberty.org.